Hi MSJ, welcome back to my channel. If you don't follow me already, I am a mum of 3 and I was just thinking about the stuff that I no longer do with my third baby that I did with my first, and how kind of parenting has changed over the 3. The stuff I've just got better at, I guess, that I've streamlined, or just that are no longer important to me. The stuff that I don't sweat as much as I did, I guess, the first time round. Sweat's a bad word. Thinking of those night sweats, that does still happen, sorry. So one thing I no longer do with my third baby that I did all the time with my first baby is sleep while the baby's sleeping. Mainly because there's 2 others, and it's a really hard thing about having more than one child, that you can no longer do that, because there was something absolutely so nice about crawling back into bed with your baby when they slept. This is actually a conscious decision though with my second baby not to do this anymore, mainly because it was so torturous when I was banking on that nap and the baby for some reason didn't sleep. I just found it really hard to drag myself through the day then. I was always on my mind that I hadn't caught up on this sleep, so I decided that when Finn slept, I was going to exercise. I don't do that with the third baby. When the third baby is asleep, like right now, I just use it to do something that I want to do, a bit of me time. So today it is filming and chatting to you guys, but I might just sit down and watch something on telly, or just sit and have a cup of tea and write a list. Just, you know, fun stuff like that. You know, think about how it's making you feel, and if it's making you feel worse sometimes, maybe think about using that time to do something a little bit better. I also find that I sleep loads better at night, because I used to find it hard to get back to sleep when I was waking in the night, and I think now I'm so tired I sleep better as well myself. Little parenting myself techniques then, limiting my nap so I sleep better at night. The second thing is changing her in her changing mat in her bedroom all the time. With the first baby, whenever he did a nappy, I would go on upstairs, go to his little changing area where everything was set up, and change him, because I had the time to do that. And I would even do that at night, which I now think is bonkers. I will link to my sleep vlog that I did about how I'm much more simpler in my nighttime routine now. With second and third baby, they get changed wherever they happen to fill up that nappy. So down on the sofa while the toddler is eating, you know, you can't just get up and go upstairs all the time when other kids are around you. So I always have a little basket with wipes, nappies, Sudocrem, anything you're using for that nappy change, just with me, near me. There's one in the lounge, there's one in my bedroom, there's one in the bathroom, and just wherever I am, I just grab that, or just grab my nappy bag, to be honest. That just moves around the house with me. It's so much easier. It just means that, you know, it's newborn baby poo, it's not as smelly as a big old toddler poo. I do think that when it gets to that stage, you probably do want to evacuate the house and open all the windows, but yep, don't sweat about having to do everything so perfectly and using their bedroom as much anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore in my house. The third thing I no longer do is eat so badly. When I had my first baby, eating was the first thing that I decided, not even decided, that I just felt I didn't have time to do anymore. I remember eating dry toast out of the toaster. Like, I just didn't prioritize myself. I put myself to the absolute bottom of the pile, and he was my everything, and I could go a whole day without eating, or then of course going out and scoffing the world's biggest cake because I just needed some energy, grabbing handfuls of stuff from the fridge. Still do it, but it was just the only way I ate with my first baby. I realized with my second, my third baby, how important it is, especially when I'm trying to establish breastfeeding, to eat well, and just for my well-being, and even for weight loss, you know, eating well. Not saying it's not even fatty foods, just regular meals. And that might mean that you end up having your lunch whenever the baby is sleeping. So I really often now have quite a big substantial thing to eat at around 10:30 when Evelyn is asleep and the boys are out. Then I'm not hungry when I'm picking up my toddler from nursery. It might mean you have your lunch at 10:30. It might mean that you have your dinner at 10 p.m. now. But make sure you have those regular meals, because it's going to do you so much better. And it was something I didn't do first time round. Got better at second time round, and this time I'm religious about. No matter what's going on, no matter if I'm having a tough day, if I'm feeling low and I don't fancy eating, if I'm knackered and I'd rather just go to bed, or I just want to reach for some sugary treat, I'm like, have that. But then also sit down, have something substantial. Don't just pick things for convenience. Pick things that are actually going to do you good and sustain you throughout the day. I no longer panic, I realise, when the baby cries. I've got such a strong memory of Freddie, my first baby, when I was in the shower and I came out of the shower and he was crying. He was in his Moses basket, he was totally fine, and I remember running out like a crazy person, grabbing him, and I was nearly in tears myself, going, I will never do that again, I will never leave you. And I used to bath with one hand out, rocking him in his rocker. Like now, I'm like, do you know what? The baby cries for a few minutes. I'm not talking about leaving her wailing and jumping off and having a shower. But if I come out of the shower and she's really crying, I'll still just wrap my hair in a towel, put my dressing gown on, and then go straight to her. I just don't panic as much, and it's the only way to get through your day, to be honest, with more than one. If I'm doing a job, like say I'm unloading the dishwasher and she starts to cry, I'll sort of weigh it up. If she's just grizzling, obviously she's not crying in any particular pain, just wants holding, I'll just quickly finish my job. That might take me 30 more seconds or a minute, but then my job is complete. And it just helps me so much more because I actually just get things done, and I'm not sort of sat by the end of the day, I haven't eaten, I've half showered, my hair's still soaking wet because I never bothered to brush it, because I drop everything and run as soon as the baby cries and panic and pander to them immediately. If you come around my house, the baby will cry, and if I'm making a cup of tea, I'll pop the milk in and then I'll go and sit down and pick her up. Tiny things like that make a really big difference, to be honest. In terms of just getting things done and not putting yourself to the bottom of the pile all the time. They are absolutely fine. Crying is just their way of communicating. They're just saying, I'd like you to come over here now, mum. It just sounds to you like this foghorn of panic going off, and it's not. I'm so much more relaxed about it third time round. Another thing I don't do anymore, which is a little bit controversial, is I no longer expect the childcare to be 50-50 between me and my husband. That might be really controversial, but I don't mean that he can't help out around the house 50-50 and that overall our chores aren't split 50-50, because they are, and my husband is incredible at doing the housework. He does tons more housework than me. When I first had a baby, I kind of expected that he would be as involved as me, that the baby was 50-50, that we would share it so equally. He would know exactly as much as I knew about the baby. And it used to frustrate me so much when he didn't know what the baby's favourite food was when we were weaning, or you know, he'd ask me a question that I thought was so bog standard simple, like, oh, you know, what temperature should the bath be? I'm like, the bath should be this temperature, I've been doing this on my own. Like, I just felt this overwhelming responsibility on me. The night feeds, the night nappies, it was mainly me doing them, and I got annoyed about that. Now with my second and third baby, I just accepted, you know what, the newborn days, the baby is very much attached to the mum. We haven't gone back to work, we're home with their sole carer most of the time, and my husband's not seeing her as much as me, and it doesn't mean he doesn't love her as much and that he's not as an amazing parent as I am, or that he doesn't care, or that he's just somehow ditching me in it. It just means that the responsibility is more mine for those first few months. And as soon as I accepted that, I felt a lot better, and it caused us so many less rows. It also meant I stopped feeling guilty about not loading the dishwasher or not doing the laundry, and that became his job. I just went on strike with those things a little bit because I was getting up in the night, and that might irritate him a bit, but he gets it. He's like, you're up at night, you're tired, I'm going to pick up the rest of the workload. And of course, when you've got when it's your second or third baby, there's older children in the house, and dads really come into their own when the kids are a little bit older, and they can kind of play with them a bit more, they can read them their stories. So they are busy with that child, and that helps a lot as well. But if you are finding that maybe the 50-50ness of what you expected isn't there, and it's your first child, just know that over the time I've realised that that's easier to just let go and just kind of go, do you know what, I probably won't accept the help as much anyway, and it's just temporary. It's just these first few months and weeks. He might need a little bit more time to warm up into the role, whereas you are a mum now, 100%, you're in it up to your smelly old hair. And the last thing I no longer do is compare myself to other mums. I spent my whole time looking at other mums' bodies, looking at their body weight, looking at how they were with their kids, and just comparing myself, and obviously comparing myself negatively to them. Know that you will lose your baby weight. It takes different time for all of us. Some mums sort of meet them a week after, they look like they'd never had a baby, and I still looked like I'd just had a baby when he was about 8 months old. It took me maybe a year and a half. It took some people a couple of weeks. Just don't compare yourself anymore, and don't stop doing things because you feel too fat to do them. Don't think that you can't go to playgroup, or you can't enjoy yourself down at the playground, or you can't sit and have a big old slice of cake in public because you feel too fat and she looks all thin and skinny. I've kind of had to just let that go as well. I know that with me, I retain the weight for much longer, and I'm just not going to ruin my maternity leave by worrying about it. I'm not going to prioritise it just because somebody else does, and that's great for them. There's nothing negative about just trying to lose the weight quickly. That's amazing. there's also nothing negative about moaning about your baby weight while eating bags of Maltesers in front of Jeremy Kyle. That's the route I go down. So yeah, don't compare myself anymore, and I'm so much happier for it. I hope this has been interesting. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next video.